over 4 years ago when our big boss from LA, from the Fox slot, flew in a lot of the Asia people, Asia GM, so from Korea, from India, from Taiwan, from Philippines, and we all went to the Fox slot, and they gave us access to a lot of the producers and the shoots. So we went to the shoot of Modern Family, of New Girl, of Glee at the time, Glee pa yata. That's how long ago it was that we did it. And the main objective really was to figure out how to create our own production and our own content in Asia, basically. So after that, went back and we tried to figure out how to do it, right? And we really tried to study based on and one of the conclusions was halos imposible siya kasi the budgets of Hollywood was just so high, right? And when you talk about a Hollywood production, one episode or one movie is probably 40 equivalent to 40 or 50 movies here in the Philippines already, right? So we needed to kind of figure out how to do it pa, but the other conclusion was the budgets are there, but the creative talent is the same, if not better, in the Philippines, right? So as long as you have a good story and then have the process down, and then the equipment is not too far from what Hollywood uses, you could probably get something that would still be very high quality, right? Similar to really good Asian quality movie, like a Korean movie or a Hong Kong movie, right? And that's really the objective and the target that we've had, and I feel like we were able to achieve that in raising the standard of Philippine cinema as far as the quality, right? So ang ginawa namin, we really spent 2 years listening to scripts, pitches, reading, and this is the script that we came up with after maybe almost 100 pitches that we went through. Ito yung
100.
I would say
Must be really good because out of 100 then you chose this.
we chose this. Yeah, so God, that's I just made the standards higher, no? No, but it was a lot. It was 2 years worth of pitches. I would say almost every week we were listening to 2 to 3. And we would be sitting in this room, and then they would be showing us the script and the concept and all that stuff, right? Well, some of it didn't have script yet; it was just concept. And this was the one that when everybody who was doing it, when we saw the concept, we said, "Hey, there was actually another one, but we had some rights issues with." It was a character that stemmed off from a character that somebody else owned in the Philippines. But in any case, this was the one that we felt, hey, we can do stuff with this script. Right?
Wait, what's so special about the story? Why it stood out?
I think a lot of it was really the pace, the subject matter, and just the way I felt like it would entertain people differently as a genre. Okay.
Because the thriller at the same time is horror.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly how it is. Because I think most of Philippine horror is just horror. There's no thriller aspect to it, diba? So that combination, I think, for this one, when we read it, was the one that I guess that we felt would give this a really good shot, right? So when we did it, I think we spent another year and a half. Really figuring out, hey, now how do we get this done? Like with seemingly limited budgets that we had, and yet the expectation of high quality, it's almost impossible also, diba? Kasi, but we went through it and we found whatever budget that we can put together, and we partnered with Signal, which is our biggest partner here, to have a local partner, to have some local flavor in the whole thing. And then we went off, right? And ako personally, I actually watched as many Filipino movies, and Charo knows this. Like every week or a week or two, I would be out watching Philippine movies, so I can learn how this director did this and how the stories are, the quality of the Philippine movie. So I know a lot about at least recent Philippine cinema now, right? And then I looked at the box office and to see what kind of I guess monetization and revenue we can get out of this. So lahat yun, I guess we had to study and see if we can really go on and get this done, right? And then after that came the technical aspects, because I'm more of a manager. I'm not really a creative person, or you know, if anything, I produced stuff before, but it was mostly sports, documentaries, and a little bit of reality here and there, but nothing like a scripted, you know, content that's might be compared to Hollywood pa nga, di ba? So we had to go through like, I had to go through like a lot of the things that needs to be done to get this all off the ground. So yun, and then we just got the help of Unitel, because they were the experts in production, and then got in touch with some talent, appointed the director, Direct Mark Maley, to kind of help
Mark
us
Maley.
to be the pilot and the steward for the project itself. And I think it was also timing with Mark Maley, because he had just come from taking up his masters in Singapore a couple of years ago, when we appointed him, and because and the master's class was more on how to create a hit movie. You know, what are the aspects of the culture and society now as to why movies become a hit or what. So I like that about that he has that knowledge now. So that was in the back of our minds. And then we set forth to get this done, right? I mean, and even me personally, I worked a lot with the writer Jonathan Guillermo on the script itself. I mean, it had, I think, 13, 14 versions, iterations. And then I was, one of the things I was very particular with, and which came out when we went to the Fox lot, was the audio and the sound, right? So it was very important to me, because I felt like it was an afterthought in, like, from the movies that I watched and all the dubbing that was being done. Audio was really an afterthought. But when you watch Hong Kong, when you watch Korea, when you watch Hollywood, it's really at the forefront, right? If not the most important part of a movie, right?
Especially for this genre.
Especially, yeah. But that's, I think, it's people who are not in the industry, I think, don't realize how important it is. It's probably even more important than the visuals, right? That's why I was, you know, yung sound dito, if you watch that trailer again with full surround sound speakers, it would be totally different, right? And that's how sound really matters in the whole thing. So yeah, so even with sound, we're making this in Dolby Atmos, surround sound. I mean, so only a few Philippine movies have been in Atmos. And then the special effects is also from Optima, who has done some good stuff also before. Right? So limited budget, but we went through every single aspect and tried to be as thorough as possible on the product itself. And now that the product is practically done, we're trying to be as thorough with the PR and marketing.
When you say seemingly limited budget, how much are we talking about?
I don't want to say exactly, but I will say this. I can say that you know, the distributor that we have for this film is ABS-CBN, so they'll distribute it for us. When I told them the budget, they said it was much higher than normal.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's all I'll say. But it's still much less than a Hollywood movie. Much less. Not even close. Or even a Hong Kong or Korean movie.
Without giving out so much about the premise of the film, can you tell us more about the story?
Yeah. The story is about exorcism and possession. That's as simple as it gets. It centers around a priest who started his career as a doctor, psychologist, and then a tragedy happens in his life. His sister dies without giving up.
That's the entire story.
Without giving up the story. No, I've had this discussion. I actually had this discussion with M, who was one of the guys who's now in Hong Kong, who went through a lot of the process with me in picking the. He was scared that we were giving away so much because we were putting out a lot of material out there, right? And I said, I was also scared, but thinking about it, there's enough in that movie for people to have good satisfaction in the end, that they still got entertained and information that they didn't have before. So that's how confident I am. And so even if I reveal that si Tom, his sister, dies, and it was a question whether it's a possession or
Natural death.
or an actual scientific disease, right? Like schizophrenia or whatever it is, right? And because he was a psychologist and he was a doctor, he was leaning towards the science, right? But because of the death, it kind of nagulo yung isip niya, and he pursued religion and the priesthood, and that's why he became a priest, specifically to be an exorcist, so that he could solve these things. So it revolves around that, and then the main story is where Jasmine Curtis Smith and Miles Ocampo kind of come in. Jasmine is a teacher slash nun, and then Miles Ocampo is the student. So Miles is the one who gets possessed. It's on the trailer already. So, and then Jasmine is her teacher, and she also has a third eye, right? So those three are the main characters within the movie, and that's where the whole thing kind of evolves into like the money scene in the end.